I would like to make a statement to help develop on intuition. In our legacy, there's a name for intuition. The name for intuition in our legacy is called Ampu.
That's right, bro.
The jackal. And see, the story says that when Ast and in Bethlehem, the two sisters cooperated with each other. They weren't even fighting each other.
Teach, bro.
And when they went looking for the bodies, the pieces, they took Ampu. Because Ampu is the one who is, that don't sound like it.
Right.
That don't look like it. That's the principle of tuition within every human being. And it's called Ampu.
This is my mother's legacy. I'm her one begotten son. Blew her fire in my lungs in 9 months, it was done. That's the short version, let me take you past hell to the light at the end of this uncertain tale. They try to back me up, lose me, lock me up in mental jail. So by the age of 12, I realized I couldn't fail, cause the soul is much deeper than this empty shell. Every lesson my mama taught me, I'm sure I learned them well. Indeed, she's my Isis, her wings gave me life, and the mental ability to separate wrong from right.
Put it on the table. After 6 months, the body becomes unable to function and maintain the continuing of life. All the body cells cease according to themselves, thereby produce death. Now, what he's saying here, somewhere in the 1950s, this particular paper was produced. In this particular paper, he just explained to you the first thing of AIDS. He explained it to you, it was AIDS. My mama said she knew about AIDS in the 1950s. They call that shit Legionnaire's disease. AIDS. Delbert Blair told you that AIDS is not acquired deficiency syndrome, whatever immune. It's named after a black woman that they first killed in the 1950s. Delbert Blair tells you about that. Dr. Delbert Blair. It was named after a black woman. Now what they're saying here is this. He's giving the first indication of AIDS. The other thing he's going to give you is how they made this particular program and gave AIDS and gave a lot of other things. Now listen to this. The creation of this woman has been in existence and taken place since 1959. Not 1940 with the white person, but they started on the black person in 1959. Within the remote villages of the country of Angola in Africa, the project was financed by the government, United States, Germany, Portugal, and major financiers and benefactors. The development of a creation of these women consists of the transmutation of grafting the black pigments into the body of a white, into the body of a black woman. Hold on, let me get this right. Let me go. I have to slow down sometimes. I get fucked up and I have to slow down to get back on the page. The transmutation and the grafting of the pigments from a body of a black woman into the body of a white woman's capillary system, whereby over a period of time it alters the entire color of the white body. And this type of treatment, along with the other specialized biological precipitations, which range from the major surgery. Now, this is what it says here. It says that what they have done when they first started with the cloning is they used some grafting techniques that they took a white woman and over a period of time turned the body into a black body. Now they can do this because if you get the book, The Mucullus Diet, in that book the white boy said he got on a doggone mucullus diet, and after a period of time before the cracker killed him, his body started turning brown. Cracker talk about that just by the diet. So they grafted this particular black woman and they sent this particular white black woman into the community mainly in the 1970s. And she became the prostitutes out on these corners. And as a result of the genetic programming of the 1970s, she was the one that spreaded the AIDS throughout the black nation from this particular black-white clone, which was the original way they used to clone, was to make a black person out of a white person. And sent this person into the black community, because although we had prostitution since the 1920s, we never had the onslaught of prostitution as we had with the Superfly era, with all this stuff, because a lot of the particular ones had double, because there was white prostitutes that was here that had black bodies. So in here, this particular man is even given the actual knowledge 30 years or 40 years ago on cloning and AIDS. Right in here. And I got a few of these particular, this rare thing that came into my possession about a couple of months ago. Some people, it's beautiful because some people always give you stuff. You know. Now, going back to this, let's get into some things here. This particular black dot, and I wanted to show you this. I wanted to give you this particular illustration here, or what I'm talking about here in this particular illustration. Now, look at this. See if I can get a picture of the staff of Tahuti so I can explain this thing for you. I'll explain this thing to you. Everybody know what the staff of Tahuti is, which is the Kundalini. Let me get some of these out here so I can show this to you. Y'all bear with me 1 minute. Y'all all right? Okay. Okay, let's deal with this. Yes, this is it now. Gotta turn that around. This is the staff of Tahuti. As a result, with the Kundalini energy that is in you, that is 90 degrees Fahrenheit, a fire behind the fire that is inside of you, when your spiritual nature raises up and you raise the Kundalini energy, the Kundalini energy goes through the black dot or the threshold. Same thing. This is another illustration. The Kundalini energy goes through the black dot or the threshold and lifts you up to your Godhead. Since the white man don't have his black dot is calcified because he's a mutant, when the Kundalini energy raises up, because they do have a form of the Kundalini energy, when it raises up, it hits this particular part and their bodies bust into flames and catch on fire. That's what you see with white people, what you call spontaneous combustion. Crackers catching on fire. There's a whole book put out by School Press in England called Fires from Heaven. Fires from heaven on white people who catch on fire. With you, the same Kundalini energy raises you up and you go through the threshold and go back to your godhood. See what I'm coming from? With white people, they burn up when they get to this particular level. So they say, so white people say raising the Kundalini is dangerous. It's dangerous for them. Because when they raise, they can kill themselves by dealing with this particular energy. You understand where I'm coming from? Dealing with this particular energy. Now, let's get into some things here. Let's keep on going. Got a lot to cover here. In here, it's called the black sun. The word, in the word, the black sun, you get the word Al. There's another word for black. Ham is another name for black. Abraham, it also means the black sun. Abraham, it means the black sun. So if the white people don't mean the sons and daughters of Abraham, Abraham means the black sun, which means the black sun. Abraham. In here, this is the black sun. In here, you see this particular entity here is something that is dealing with your soul. Now, you don't suppose to take the literal look literal. It's explaining energy, is what it's explaining. When you go up, there is an entity that sets over the threshold. If you are white, this entity eats you. Go see the movie Frighteners. The movie Frighteners, Michael J. Fox. When the crackers tried to get up the thing, this entity came and snapped them and killed them. Movie Frighteners. Very key. You want to learn about the soul, get the movie Frighteners. Told a lot of good stuff in the movie.
Brother and that white man walking around with him.
Yeah. But you couldn't get past the heaven realm. But you go past the heaven realm. Because your soul, the one that eats souls, in actuality, is a part of you anyway. Now let me explain this. Let me go into some things here. Try to explain something. Number one, to try to explain God with mere religious terminology is only limiting the process of God. This is chaos, and this is how your melanin looks and operates in you. How in the hell can you put a name on that? So ultimately, there is no real true name of God. All names of God are but good names to explain God. You see what I'm saying? Because ultimately, this is what chaos is. And this is what is inside of you. You understand what I'm saying? When I started off the lecture, I said that you can't calculate and put a calculation on chaos. Now let me hold right there because I'm going to go into some things right now to try to explain something on how we function. We notice that no matter what we do, we fail at everything as black people. We can't get nothing off the ground. Even the conscious brothers and sisters. We open up a vegetarian restaurant, you got to wait 10 hours. Same, I don't know how it is, up same thing. All the conscious people, hell, they're the worst kind of niggas. You got to wait 10 hours. Seems like whatever we do, we always do the worst service. We always are prone to fail. That's good. That's good. Failure is good. Now, I'm not bumping off the guns. Let me explain this to you. There was a radio show with the woman Kate Thompson up in New York City. It was going on. And all through the night, they had a call in, and people was calling in saying how black people can't do this, and why we can't seem to do this. Why can't we do business like the Japanese? Why can't we do this like the Jews? And why can't we do this like the white man? Why can't we do this like anybody else? And for a split second, the spirit came down, and one of the brothers on the actual station and said, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we don't supposed to do those things. See what I'm saying? See, we are here killing ourselves, trying to find out how we going to get out of this mess. But when we talk about getting out of this mess, we're talking about us being free as far as running the civilization equal to the white man.
That's right.
That's what we call freedom. Right? So our revolutionary type things is we want freedom to have our own black nation equal to the white man or better than the white man. First of all, we don't know enough about history to understand this. First of all, history don't just start with Egypt. History goes back millions of years we've been on the planet. Like I said, I was talking to the sister this morning, is the reason why we fell from Egypt and fell into what we are now is we didn't really fall, we outgrew that shit. That was a low level of living. We have done that for a couple of thousand years. And it's time to go in the cocoon to the metamorphosis stage to go to the other dimension. So as a result, we gave that to the lesser men and women on the planet. Understand? So now you got hit in the head and lost your memory, and in the process of gaining your memory back, you trying to duplicate what the cracker doing on some shit that you gave up a long time ago because you outgrew it. You understand what I'm talking about here? Then all of a sudden, shit start making sense. Maybe you don't supposed to do what the cracker is doing. Why? First of all, we got to look at this. Number one, we left a whole lot of knowledge behind from the ancient world to remind us. But every bit of the knowledge we left behind from the ancient world is all spiritual. We don't know what them people did to run their societies back then. We can only speculate. But why didn't they leave a blueprint behind on how to run a society? But yet they left all this spiritual stuff. The meta, the God's this, the Hebrew scripture, the Kabbalah, all this religious material and the spiritual material. Why didn't they leave a blueprint on how for you to function on the physical? Yet, we put into action what we was going to do when we got out of this mess a long time ago. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here now talking about it, because we agreed about it, agreed to do it this way eons before we went to sleep. You understand where I'm coming from? But yet, when we look at the stuff that we put into action that we're supposed to gain back, the knowledge, it's all spiritual material. So what in the fuck are we doing up in here talking about anything other than the spirit? When you can't find no kind of blueprint telling you on how to run the world based on the mundane realm, as the cracker doing. That's because you done ran in a couple thousand years. And then you went into a hibernation cocoon stage, and no caterpillar goes into a cocoon to come out a caterpillar world. If you ain't talking about ending this shit, you ain't talking about nothing. That's it. Now let's not be funny with this mess. I'm going to give it to you how it is. We ain't pulling no punches and giving you no feel-good message. It's over on this realm. You can't do nothing. All the liberation shit you talk about, all that cracker got to do to stop you from damn uprising is come there and cut off your lights and your water, and that's it for the revolution. Your ass to sing another tune. Tell me am I lying? We got to be honest with this mess. We talk a lot of feel-good stuff. Now we know that the white man started the riots in 1992 in LA. We know that he was a part of that. But when we got into the groove of things, they said, okay, cut it out. They said it's time to stop before they start burning up Beverly Hills and all that. So what the first thing they did, to stop it, they stopped it in a matter of seconds. They came and they cut off the lights and they cut off the water. Because you are a domestic animal, and you can't live outside of domestic type of environments. Let's not be funny with this mess. Even if you say you revolutionary to stick it out, you got 60 million black people out there that don't know what the hell you talking about. As soon as the lights get cut off, they killing your ass. That's all the dumb shit. Right? Okay? But yet, we don't have no material from ancient Egypt, ancient Ethiopia, ancient Timbuktu telling us how to run a state. But we got spiritual stuff, and all spiritual stuff culminate with one thing: apocalypse and transformation. I don't give a damn what you read. It all culminates with the transformation of the soul and the spirit to the other dimension and the destruction of the old world. The third dimension is on its way out. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is an illusion. It's only a series of events that do not exist. The only thing that exists is your spirit, your soul. You understand where I'm coming from? That's all that exists. So we talk about the chaos field. So how do you get on top of this? Because you can't rationalize, intellectualize, or logically understand this because it is. You can't put no mathematical equation on no dancing. You just do it. That's right. John Coltrane was blowing the horn, and he went into a flurry. This other black girl wrote down every one of his notes when he went into that flurry. She gave it back to him and said, play this. He said, this is humanly impossible to play this. She said, you just did it a few damn minutes ago. Because that's spirit, you understand? And you can't calculate spirit. So what's happened is the white boy has made a systematic system of all our educatees, or the people that's educated, by putting you in a box, giving you logic, rationale, what looks good, feel good, sounds good, and makes common sense. If it makes common sense, it ain't the real shit at all. We got to think beyond. We got to think on a quantum physics level. You understand where I'm coming from? You understand? So let's go into some other stuff. Let's deal with some stuff. All right. Look at this. Another aspect of the soul. Another aspect of the soul. You can't, how you gonna put a name on that? How you gonna explain that? But, doesn't that look like the contradictions that black people give you every day? It does, doesn't it? A big mess. You understand where I'm coming from? It's only a mess in the physical realm. And because the physical realm, we have outgrown it, it is artificial to us. But that which is a mess in the physical realm is the righteous stuff in the spiritual realm. You understand what I'm saying? Let's deal with something. First of all, look at this. Now you know it's the end of the world when the cracker come out with something called a Moses mystery. Look at this. Gary Greenberg. Look at this now. Gary Greenberg. This is a white Jew coming out telling the truth. It's called a Moses mystery. This book will challenge the basic assumptions about the Bible. The 12 tribes of Israel never existed. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and the characters were from Egyptian mythology. The Bible story of Jacob and Esau well, for example, draws together several myths about the Egyptian god Horus and Set, feuding brothers and twins who fought from their mother's womb, woven into the stories about the biblical patriarchs. The first Israelites were Egyptians, the followers of the Pharaoh Akhenaten. The attempt to introduce monotheism into Egypt engendered rage among the religious establishment. Moses served as the high priest in Akhenaten's cult. After Akhenaten's death, had to flee Egypt to avoid execution. The Pharaoh Hemmitt waged a bitter war in a campaign to eradicate the vestiges of Akhenaten's heresy, eliminating the evidence stone by stone and word by word. As a result, Akhenaten remained lost in history until the 19th century when the Egyptologists discovered his ruins at the capital city. Hemmitt died. Moses returned to Egypt, united with the followers and the enemies of Egypt to attempt to seize the throne of Ramesses I. The coup failed, but to avoid civil war, Moses and his followers were allowed safe passage out of Egypt. This is the real Egyptian Exodus. After entering Canaan, the Egyptian followers formed a military alliance with the local Canaanite kings and some recently arrived Greek invaders known as the Sea People, which actually was the Phoenicians. With the non-tribal alliance and small kingdom cities and states became the biblical Israel. So the cracker Gary Greenberg is bearing witness and telling the truth about the Old Testament. That was Akhenaten, was the heretic king. You see what I'm saying? Which was actually, and I did a tape before the cracker that I got a tape called Akhenaten and Moses One and the Same, dealing with this particular science here. You see what I'm saying? Dealing with the science. But see, there's several black books that came out about this, but not a cracker coming out with it, bearing witness to it, and he's a Jew. See where I'm coming from here? He's a doggone Jew. Let's get into some more stuff here. We're going to deal with a whole lot of stuff here now. And all. This is a picture of the god Abraxas. The god Abraxas also is the Persian god. The lion that you see and the snake represents the Kundalini. Up top here you see the black dot and you see the wings. You see the wings represent, when it goes through the black dot, the wings represent your soul ascending to the higher and the other dimension. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a picture of the black Abraxas. Here's one from England explaining something that's so profound here. This here is a picture of a black woman. Then you see the dreadlocks, but you'll see this demon coming up out of her. Now, in the occult, if you don't understand the occult knowledge on what's going on here, you would be misconstrued about this picture. You would think that it's some crazy stuff. What it means is this. Anytime you see a demon or an entity that looks like the devil or hideous in ancient world, they explained physics, chemistry, alchemy. So as a result, what they did was this. To explain energy, when you see the most hideous looking type creatures, that meant how powerful the energy was. You in a modern time thinking it's talking about something demonic. You see the skull and crossbones on the bottle. That don't mean that the stuff that's in the bottle is evil. It just means that that's the most potent and most powerful shit. You understand what's going on here? So anytime you see demon-looking gargoyle type people in the ancient world, it meant that this particular person here, which is on this this beautiful black woman, it meant how powerful she was as far as her spirit. And in the physical world, it would appear to look like this because the physical is artificial looking to the spiritual. So when the white people see the devil and see the demon and stuff, they're bearing witness to our particular energy. White people don't like you because basically they haven't learned to live with you based on a political thing. They don't like you because they can't take your energy. You have a certain energy that by them being dialectically opposite from you, they can't take your energy. And that's why they don't like you. Look at this. I'm going to show you something in a book. You ever get your hands on it? It's a guy by the name of Richard Cavendish. The book is called The Powers of Evil. I want to read something to you in this particular book. I want to read something in this particular book here to show you something. Now look at this. Now it's funny, this guy got out a book called The Black Arts that's in print that was written in 1970. This was a later book that was written in 1978 and it's out of print because it also explains in here why the white man is hateful, his energy fears the black man, or black people. This is what it says here. It's talking about here this. It says that blacks have naturally struck people with disagreeable force. That means white people. Some writers have suggested that the blackness of the devil is the expression of the white man's terror and hatred for black skin. Thus, the truth is probably one way or the other way around. See, he's double talking. See, when they deal you stuff, they say it's the other way around. He just told you what the real deal was. You got to read between the lines of what the crackers saying. They're masters of the English language, so they are able to twist things around. He said so, but let me read that again. He said the expression of the devil being black, which means the white man's terror of black skin. He said the devil is black because he is evil, master of darkness, of sin, and supreme rebel against the light and the holiness of truth. Now this is what he says. People of black skin may consequently be feared as demonic. Now he's telling you on why white people fear you as black people. There's a movie you can go get called The Advocate. And in the movie they talk about the gypsies. Now the gypsies was nothing but the bastardized children of the Moors that they called the Egyptians, and from that the short name gypsy came about. It was in Europe. And they thought that the gypsies was the devil because they thought the black people was the devil in Europe. You see what I'm saying? Now, it says that black skin may consequently be feared as demonic. Some of the other devil characteristics are nominally lustful, it says, aimlessly, lustfulness, otherwise gentle. I want to get to the point what I'm trying to get here. Look at this. It says, the gentle equivalent has been projected on, the general equivalent has been projected on the black men by white race fanatics. Now this is what it says. Heretics, witches of the Middle Age accused the worshiping of devils of the black goat, cats, and other animals, and frequently appeared as a black man. And this is usually did not mean Negroes, but it means a person with black hair and dark complexion. Now what the fuck? See how he double talking? Yeah, right. He'll tell you one meaning that it don't mean this, but he double talking. You got to understand what he's trying to tell you when he's explaining this particular information of why white people really hate us, or a man in black clothes. In early Christian literature, however, the devil sometimes is a Negro, an Egyptian, or an Ethiopian. You see, the Acts of St. Bartholomew is a hairy Negro with wings and a bat and dog snout. It says in St. Perpetua, who was Martre at Carthage, whatever that means, in 203, said to have experienced a vision which she turned into a man and was forced to fight for her life in the arena against an ugly Egyptian. She wrestled with him and defeated him. Afterwards, wrestling with him, found out that he was the devil. According to Castor Marcellus, in the early 5th century, the devil appeared to the desert of Hemmitt as a hideous Ethiopian. It goes on to say here that the hideous Ethiopian that they talk about putting impure thoughts in man. Then he gets into a scientific stuff, and if you don't understand what he's talking about, if you haven't studied anything about alchemy, he says on the second page that the reason why the white man fears the black man is because of an alchemical thing that the white man basically don't have melanin. So when he comes in contact with the black man, he can't take the actual energy. Now it's interesting because I read this to a group of people down in Atlanta last year about some person was forced to fight into an arena with the devil, and they say, hey, there's a Nike commercial out now with these people fighting in an arena with this black man who was the devil. It came out last year. You see what I'm saying? And Nike was putting that out, showing that the black man is the devil. You understand what I'm saying? Because we are their devil. You got to understand this particular thing. Now, going back to this particular picture, this indicates the energy. You understand? It indicates the energy. Now, let's go on to some things. I want to show you something here.
Brother, what was the author's last name?
Richard Cavendish, The Powers of Evil. Richard Cavendish. Let's look at the picture here. I'm going to show you this. It's almost impossible to do it all in what's called, but I'm definitely going to have to come back. But which one is it? Okay, you want a break now? Well, okay, we can have let's say about 10-minute break. We got a 10-minute break, and we're going to come back and going to resume, and we're going to go as long as we can, and then we're going to go into a serious question and answer. So we got a whole lot more going. You see what I'm saying? But we're going to take a little break. Get this light time to cool off. And then we're going to come back and we're going to resume and we're going to go into some other science because I can go all night. And I promise I won't leave your hand. Okay? And that way I can get my notes and all my stuff ready. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to start this thing back up. We go into a series of things. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bombard and mix it all up and stuff. And then the good part about it is you get to go into elaborate question and answer. And the question and answer is your questions are actually answers, and that's when the spirit really comes in. You see what I'm saying? And the more challenging the questions, the better the spirit even works. So let's deal with some things right now. Let me explain this to you here. You back on? Okay, this is back on. Let's deal with this right now. There's something called the Black Project. The Black Project is the official naval intelligence manages the Black Project. It involved other world agencies as well as the newly World Health Organization, WHO, HWO, World Health Organization. The World Health Organization is a technological has the technology to heal most disease. One of many diseases, curable disease, is also diabetes. But what do we think about AIDS? The AIDS virus was genetically engineered to annihilate black people and homosexuals. And this is what the crack is saying. Now you got it on black and white. This is what the cracker's saying. It's always good to hear what you already know this, but we got to put stuff. This is what the cracker's saying. Just in case some fool out there see the video and say that nigga is paranoid. This is what the white boy is saying. The AIDS virus was genetically engineered to annihilate black people and homosexuals. They used to use the homosexual for a smoke screen. I'll explain that in a minute. Yes, dear readers, this is true. Unfortunately, AIDS is now out of control because the virus is mutating beyond their expectation. The World Health Organization actually tried to create AIDS in a virus in 1932. They ain't tried, they did. It says, this government experiment was carried out in Alaska by infecting black males with syphilis. No healing treatment was administered to them because the World Health Organization wanted to study the disease. Even Dick Gregory told you that Eva Sneed out in University of California, Berkeley, connected the AIDS program with the Tuskegee experiment back in the 80s. Other areas of the Black Project is genetic engineering, cloning, cryogenic technology are being carried out in biogenetic laboratories in Duluth, Mexico. The area centers the center of Talos, which is a subterranean city sitting allegedly under Mount Shasta, California, is said to house almost 2 million reptilian-type people. Now, what they mean by this is this. They also talk about cloning, but they talk about, this is an old information that's talking about some of your first clones came from California, and that's where you have your whole gang warfare and your stuff that went down in the early 80s. Those were clones that was put in the actual community. You see what I'm saying? But the cryogenics, they can freeze the mug and wake him back up. So anytime they tell you we might have the information to have cloning in the near future, that means that it's 40 years behind. So President Bill Clinton coming in and telling you that we're not going to fund cloning, government funding for cloning, is like telling you in 1997 that we're not going to fund government funding for making TV sets, for TV technology. TV technology already exists. Cloning already exists. You understand where I'm coming from? But the people who don't know, they still thinking it's just them two little goats or them two little sheep out there. And they don't even know this is whole robots. There's a whole book called Robots Rebellion. You see what I'm saying? Robots Rebellion. Now this is the key on what's this. Now let me show you this about this cloning. Let me tell you what they're getting ready to do here. Now look at this. It's called the Patent for Indigenous People and Human Genetic Diversity. What this means is this. Let me read this to you so you can understand. We're going to deal with a whole lot of stuff. Don't worry about it. We're going to deal with some old mystery, but we're going to deal with a whole lot of stuff because we can go all night. The Human Genome Diversity Project is an informal consortium of university scientists of North America and Europe. So your major universities here. What's the major university here? These are the mugs that's doing half the shit right here. In Philly it's Temple. In Atlanta it's Emory and Georgia Tech, and so on and so forth. Walter Reed, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Hospitals and stuff like that, whatever. These particular universities in North America has launched a campaign to take blood tissues and samples from hundreds of so-called endangered and unique human communities scattered around the globe. Now look at this. It says the products and the process extracted from collected materials have enormous commercial value. The materials, if may be patentable, even with further research, will profits be made from the genes of the poor people whose physical survival is in question. This is what they're talking about here. Especially Emerge magazine and them niggas on BET. Because the first thing they'll come up with these quotes. Anytime you hear this, the black man, an endangered species. That is stuff that is given to the white person. Given from the white person, given to black people thoughts, and you start thinking endangered species. They already said that the CDC in Atlanta already tracks black male violence as an endangered species. It's on the disease list. Now listen to this, how this thing goes here. Whenever they put you on the endangered species list, as far as black people now, because now they even got the black woman with the whole AIDS thing and all this. Once they put you on the endangered species, they've already passed a law in Congress that once an animal or a human enters into the endangered species list, then a company can come in and bid for the genetic material of that endangered species.
Check.
See what I'm saying? And this is what happens. They will come in. They will say, well, we have reports that the Baltimore Negro on such and such side of town is endangered species. So this is Coca-Cola, IBM will start the bidding to who can bid on the endangered species. The person who bids the highest gets the endangered species and he puts a patent on it. Then that means that Coca-Cola owns the entire area of black people in such and such part of Baltimore. IBM will own the other one. Because they're dealing with genes, you can be walking around with the genes in your body, and your genes in your body could be owned by a company. The new shit is going on. So what happens is they say, well, we got the Philadelphia Negro. West Philadelphia, let's say the black community. They got, what's a I think it's, what is it? Is it West or South Philadelphia or one of them? They'll say, well, let's just West Philadelphia Negro. So Xerox say, well, we will bid for the West Philadelphia Negro, and they will bid, and then we'll put a patent on that gene. And those people could be walking around going to work and all, but will be owned by a corporation. This is the new slavery. And they can own you while you still live in America, just by putting your race on the endangered species list. You understand where I'm coming from here? The endangered species list. It says right here, listen. Will profits be made for the genes of the poor people whose physical survival is in question? You see, when they've already talked about it, so what they'll do is they're saying not only that, they're saying here that they can go around the world in each area in Africa that's in danger, Zaire Negroes. They can deal with that genetic material. Now, not to make a hoopla about it, they will come in, they'll say, well, we want a certain amount of genetic material from the people from a certain section of Baltimore. They will come in and they will haul that whole section off, and that particular person will go into a laboratory for that company, and then they will just duplicate the other ones and put the other and replace that community with a whole community of clones. You see what I'm saying? They can place that, and then but the genetic material, which is the real you, because you got that melanin and the good shit. You see what I'm saying? This like saber-tooth tiger shit. This is the most valuable shit on the planet. That particular stuff, that company will own that, and that company can do all kind of experiments with that. You see what I'm saying? And this is the new stuff that they're dealing with here. Right here. And this, and look at this. This is May 1993. This ain't nothing current event. Yet they'll give you some of those stuff about some black people, some dope shit in the community. 10, 15 years ago, you all in Congress, yeah, we mad at the CIA, and we fight the CIA, and the CIA laugh and say, them goddamn idiots. We gonna give up 2 clones and put them in damn jail for these damn fools, and they don't even know this is a smoke screen of some new stuff. The Crocker even made a movie about the damn thing. He done made 2 movies. He made the movie. No, not only he made a movie about them snatching bodies and making melatonin. He made the first movie he made was a melatonin war, the Rwandan war. When they killed thousands of people in Rwanda. Well, they killed those people. The warlords was clones. They started a war and they killed thousands of innocent people in the bodies. They carted those bodies up, chopped them up, packaged those bodies up. See, in Africa, they got these cloning, they got these melatonin camps. The melanin camps is the difference. They have melanin camps where they just take the raw material and cart it up and ship it to Europe and America. And America has melatonin camps where they grind it up and make it into melatonin pills. They got enough melatonin pills backed up for 1,000 years now. They even made a movie about it called Ace Ventura When Nature Calls. The movie was about them pitting 2 tribes together to kill each other off for a bat substance with a bat dropping called guano. A white bat, but it was talking about a fertilizer. In ancient Egypt, melanin was called a divine seed and fertilizer. The bat is also an ancient Vodun symbol for melanin.
But they use an albino bat.
They used the albino bat, but it was about guano. It was about the actual fertilizer he could get, which is melatonin. It's what they was dealing with in the movie. And they had the 2 tribes fighting against each other. Ace Ventura When Nature Calls. You thought it was just some laughing shit. Crap like on it. He made another movie about them snatching the homeless. Look at this, now ain't this funny? My brother said he went to Port Authority in New York in 93. About how they snatched these homeless people up for experimentation. Basically, it was talking about spinal cord experiments. And you understand the spinal cord, that's talking about kundalini, talking about melanin. Made a movie about it. But they make these movies and put these movies out to test you because we dummies. We think that them is just damn movies. Everything is in the movies. Called Extreme Measures. Hugh Grant and Gene Hackman. The movie about snatching up the homeless. The movie was written a #1 best-selling book by a white boy who is a medical doctor called Michael Palmer. He made a movie out of it. And the cracker named Michael Palmer is the cracker that worked into the concentration camps with the genetic experiments. He got about 5 books out on the shit that the doctors do to people. But you think about it, it's called medical horror. So when you go and buy the shit, you think it's some joke. This shit is real. He just put it in a damn book. But you've been trained to not even believe in some stuff like that real, and he can get away and make millions of dollars off the shit. It's called medical horror. Michael Palmer. Go to the science fiction section, and just go in the store in the softback section, paperback section, and say, I want the 5 or 6 books. It costs about $3 or $4. I want the 5 or 6 books of Michael Palmer. And he lists everything the doctors is doing to people up in this shit. The thing about it is, this shit is all true. The same cracker that does the experiments, writing books on it. They made a movie about it, Extreme Measures. You better recognize. See what I'm saying? That's how this stuff is. We live it in the last days. But they still running scared. You understand? They still running scared. Now let me explain something to you. This is the science on this. Let me go into some other stuff. See what we got here. That down. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. Let me go into some stuff to show you what time it is. Listen to this. First of all, there's something that went down in America in January that was so profound that people don't even know what's going on. First of all, on the first day of 1997, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and all of them came together. It was on Nightline. This was on New Year's night. They said that we understand that the other older calendars, the Sophic calendar and the Julian calendar and all these other original calendars, that it's beyond the year 2000, but we're saying based on the calendar that we use now, the Gregorian calendar, at least 1997 is the year 2000. See what I'm saying? Then on January 23rd of 1997, this happened. On January 23rd of 1997, there will be an exceedingly rare archetypical opportunity in planetary alignment. At the moment in time expressed in the heavens, a perfect 6-pointed star with the pattern will come exactly when 3 degrees of the planet Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune are conjoined together for the first time in almost 200 years. Not since the Renaissance period have all 5 outermost planets been harmoniously arrayed. On January 23rd, a cluster of planets center into the first degrees of Aquarius, joined together with the sun and the full moon opposite them all. They knew since 1969, based on something called the Gaia Mind Project, that this particular lineup on January 23rd, 1997 will be the Aquarian age. And white people parted all over the planet at this time, knowing that they ushered the Aquarian age was here. You see what I'm saying? It's called a Gaia Mind. They knew this. Now, this is the spiritual thing. LeVar Burton was on TV the same week, and he said, where were you on January 23rd, 1977? That was the year that Roots aired for the first time on TV. Now, even though we know that the Roots ain't the best accurate portrayal of slavery, and we understand the Afrocentric people, but it's the best the cracker gave us. Now, come on, let's be real about it. We talking about the white man here. And I don't care, in 1976 and 1977, Roots was the all-out shit. Because we get a little Afrocentric knowledge now, we learn our history, we want to front. But we know that Roots was the jam when it first came out, those people who remember that. I was in the 9th grade when it came out. And we took over the bathroom in the high school and told them crackers, you better bring a cup to school because you ain't pissing up in here no more. See what I'm saying? So it was a spiritual phenomenon. Who would ever know that 20 years to the day that Roots aired, that we would go into the Aquarian age? That's very spiritual. Called the Aquarian age of January 23rd, 1997. See what I'm saying? Very spiritual that you understand this at this particular time. Y'all all right? Okay. Now, we got a lot. We got to deal with the Hale-Bopp mystery. We got to deal with the hell about mystery. We got to deal with a lot of stuff here. Let's see what we're going to deal with here first. Okay. What time is it?
Time to move.
9:30. Oh, shoot. We got a long time. We got a long time. If the man permits us to stay. Man permits us to stay. Let's go into some stuff here first of all and try to understand something here. We're going to show slides. We're going to talk. We're going to do all this. This is what we're dealing with here when I was telling you that you worrying about the wrong thing trying to be on the level of the white man. Because you gave that up and he inherited your leftover stuff. Right here you got 3 ages. You got the shamanistic, which is the amethyst spirit, which is when we was first in Atlantis. You see what I'm saying? Then you had what is called a pagan. Pagan only means the people. Anytime you hear the word pagan, you're a pagan. I'm a neo-pagan. Pagan only means the people. At that time, the people they were calling pagan was black people. And at this particular time, you had the Egyptian mystery system. You see what I'm saying? Then came the monotheistic. That's when all the shit fell down. Because you can't coin God in just this one omnipotent being and you don't understand the doggone systematic breakdown of God. That's why you ignorant of God with this monotheistic stuff. But they had to do it that way because the white man couldn't look at the different aspects of God and understand that they was talking about the same God, or the one God or the God one. So they had to break it plain and simple for the later races of people who couldn't understand what we were dealing with. We were advanced enough to look at God in the many multiplicity of forms. When the white man came and couldn't understand this and all, he said we worship many gods. Never worship many gods. But I want to ask you this question. Look at this. This is how we train. Asa Hilliard asked this question one time. Suppose we did worship many gods. Is that bad? Is it bad? No. That's only because you've been taught from a child that that's bad. Nobody never produced the evidence that that was bad. See, to me, the African, when they saw God in everything, you understand what I'm saying? They had more respect for everything. You understand what I'm saying? It's when you take a God and box him up into this unapproachable being, you can kill everything that ain't God. When you're killing God in the process, because we are gods. Check? Check. All right. Then you got what's called an atheist. That's what we in right now. They don't even believe in God. Even though they do religion, religion is only a political tool. You understand what I'm saying? They ain't got shit to do with spirituality whatsoever. And then and this is where we're going to chaos, pan demon. That's going back to the melanin realm. You understand what I'm saying? The melanin realm, or what we came from. We're going to get into tonight, what are you talking about? What do you mean life beyond the physical? What are you talking about here? We're going to get into that also too. Now, this is what your spirit looks like inside your body. So even when we talk about the spirit, it's black. That's when white people see these. Even sometimes you see little black spirits, little shades and stuff. This is what your spirit look like. See what I'm saying? This is what your spirit looks like. You see, white boy even buried in this. The black kundalini, 2 trans-Yugakian gods of magic. That's what your spirit looks like. You see what I'm saying? Dealing with that particular levels of chaos. I want to get into this particular part. First of all, this is a very spiritual symbol here. You think of this as the devil. Number 1, you see here, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 6-pointed star. You see what I'm saying? You also see the Masonic symbol. Right here you see the cross, and then right in the middle of the cross, you see this particular ram-headed goat called the Baphomet. The Baphomet. In Egypt, this is the Greek form. This is the Greek form of the most ancient god, Ra. Same picture. The beings who live below say that God is on high, while the angels in heaven say God lives on earth. But you see the same horns you see on that. This is the Greek version of the Greek god Pan. which is the Greek version of Osiris. The Christians took this sacred symbol and turned it into the devil. When you see that, you get scared. The symbol of this is the symbol of the most ancient black man. You see the star right there represents the black dot. You see what I'm saying? You see the kundalini. You see the wings. You see what I'm saying? You see right here is the black moon, white moon is the same thing as the yin and yang symbol. The Sabbatic goat, the Sabbath. That's our picture of the Most High God. This is just the Greek version of the same God. If you get the book, Jeffrey Burton Russell, The Devil in Antiquity, you want to learn about Satan. Satan just means the black man. Jeffrey Burton Russell, The Devil in Antiquity. They'll show the same horns on the goddess Heru's head, or Hathor, the sacred divine cow of Sirius. And they took the same horns and put it on the devil's head, or they took it and made it evil. That's what the Christian mythology did. Satan comes from the word soot, which means the triple blackness of space, and Anubis, An, Ananuki, Anpu, Soot on, Shade on, Soot on, which means the black opener, which means melanin. The word Satan means melanin. The word devil comes from the word doppelganger. It comes from the word double. You got two double cells. The dual one, the double-wanded one. The double. From the double you get devil. The double means that you have the real you is on the inside of you looking out. But through the course of time, you think you were fooled into thinking that the physical body is you. It ain't got shit to do with you. You are on the inside looking out. Let me break it down in an analogy. You are not a local person. You exist someplace in another dimension. You have a walkie-talkie in this dimension, which is your physical body, that's receiving transmission. But in the other dimension, you have been put to sleep, so you're transmitting dreams and haven't yet woke up. So therefore, you got to shut off this dream to get back to doggone the real world, which is dreamland, because when you go to sleep at night, you go to the real world, and the fake world cease.
That's right.
That's it.
And when you wake up, you go back to sleep. And the real you sleeps during the day and wakes during the night. You're nocturnal people. See what I'm saying? And the artificial sun up there lights up this daylight so you can't see the spirit in the daytime. That's why we are most spiritual at night. That's why we get down during the night. Nocturnal people. Because in the daytime you are asleep, and in nighttime you wake. They made a whole cartoon about it called the Gargoyles. Gargoyle, the baddest shit come on. The Gargoyle is the history of the black man. The Gargoyle is the history of the black man. They come on every day at 3:30, Walt Disney. And in the daytime, they sleep. Because the artificial sun comes up and brightens up everything because it's a hologram. You go outside of the universe, you go outside of the earth, outside of the atmosphere, you don't even see that sun. You see Sirius, the sun behind the sun, which is inside of you. And in the nighttime, when you go to sleep, the real you wakes up. You are trapped because the physical thing is taken over. When you first entered the earth, the physical world was dim. It's like a shade or a shadow. You couldn't even see it. And the spiritual world was visible. As you fell deeper and deeper into the physical realm, the physical world became more visual, and the spiritual world disappeared. You understand what I'm saying? Now we're talking about reversing it. That's the key on what we talk about, how getting out of here. We're going to get deeper into that tonight, the soul. You understand where I'm coming from? So now, this is showing you where the devil stuff comes from. The Baphomet. Y'all clear on that? Jeffrey Burton Russell. He has several books, The Antichrist, but you want the black and red book called The Devil. He show you how the devil ain't nothing but all the ancient stuff that they took from black people. The devil comes from the word double. This is the god Harpocrates, which is Horus. The two alligators represent melanin, the black god of Kim. This is the god, this is where the Jesus thing comes from. We're going to get into that today too. We're going to ice that. See, unfortunately, there was some works that was dug up in 1945 the cracker held on to. He didn't even translate them until 1977. They blow that Jesus thing right out of the water. We're going to get into that tonight. You take it or let it alone. We're going to end that shit because that's what's throwing you off. Blow that shit right out of the water. All right? Oh, there's a Jesus. There is a Jesus. But they stole somebody else's idea and plagiarized it. And they gave you the fake thing. We don't get into that. This is the real picture of Jesus, which is Horus, Heru. In here you see the Horus lock, where you get the word Horus lock that the Jews speak, which is warlock, warlock, which means ancient priest. Anytime you hear the word warlock, that's you. Got a whole couple of 2 movies on the warlock. The second movie, that boy, when he bleed black blood, melanin. They'll recognize that's you he's talking about. In the first movie, he was trying to get some book called the Grand Grimoire. To reverse the name of the, but they can't find the Grand Grimoire. There's a book called the Grand Grimoire, because the Grand Grimoire is the book of the dead. Book of coming forth body. That's the real Grand Grimoire. Of rituals and spells. That's why you couldn't read it. It's written in chaos. And everything is spells up in there. The warlock, or the Horus lock, warlock, which means the priest. Horus the priest. Then back here, you have his double, the god Bes. The god Bes is what's on the inside of him, sleeping, the medulla oblongata, the voice of God. Right here, in your back, sleeping. That's the God that's sleeping and wakes up during the night. That's the real you. The hideous look means that that's the most powerful. I told you about that. Skull and crossbones, that's called chemistry, alchemy, that they deal with here. The god Bes is the double. You get the word devil. How many people saw Star Wars? Empire Strikes Back. You remember when he went to go see Yoda?
Yep.
Didn't Yoda sit on his shoulder? There's your picture of where the shit come from. Yoda was his teacher, but the teacher is inside of you. That's the teacher. You understand where I'm coming from? That's the teacher. That's where they get the Yoda thing from. But this is inside of you, teaching you. You understand where I'm coming from? Right here, Horus Set. You see Horus, and in the back, you see this black figure that represents melanin. In the back of you, behind your neck, teaching you. That's the real you. You understand where I'm coming from? That's what's going on here. The double, your doppelganger. You get the word double. All sacred spiritual terms. Sut-an, later on, was worshipped by a tribe called the Yazidi tribe that worshipped Shaitan, and you get the word Satan from, which is a spiritual thing. Satan is another word for the most ancient high god. Satan comes from the word Sut-an, that comes from the word